What's up YouTube? Welcome to Cars, Costs, and Technology. Today I'm going to be reviewing a 2017 Corvette Z06, but not just any old Z06. This is a 3LZ Z06 with the Z07 performance package. So for those of you that speak Corvette, you know this is the top of the food chain when it comes to the Corvette lineup at the moment. Extremely impressive car, and as a current Corvette Stingray owner, this is basically my dream car, so I'm just thrilled to have an opportunity to spend the day with the car and share my overall thoughts and first impressions with you. But before we get started, I want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to Bradshaw Chevrolet for providing this car. Definitely check them out at the information in the description. As I pointed out in a previous video, this is actually where I get my current Corvette serviced and where I'm planning on purchasing my next Corvette from as well. So I definitely love to share their information with you as a dealership that I trust and I know that you will have a good experience with as well. If you're in the market for a Z06, this Z06 is actually almost $10,000 off sticker price right now, which is just an incredible price point for just over $90,000. You're literally getting supercar performance with this car, so definitely an awesome value. But I want to take a moment to acknowledge just how good this car looks and how it's specced out. You've got the black exterior, black rims, carbon flash badging with the red calipers, carbon ceramic brake rotors, and the Z07 package, which comes with the more aggressive aero. This is actually the stage 3 aero, which you can see how aggressive that front splitter is, that huge wing on the back as well as the rockers on the side. Very, very good looking car, and it's just wild to me when you see this in person, you know, especially considering I daily drive a Corvette, so you know the overall body of the C7 Corvette is I'm very familiar with it. But when you look at this, especially compared to say a base Stingray like mine, it's just insane how much wider, how much lower. I mean, the stance overall just looks so much meaner, especially with the upgraded aero. It's almost disheartening to me to see my car compared next to it, but you know, obviously, and you're going to pay additional to get that type of look and that type of feel, but it's just insane, and you can tell right away by looking at it, even if you're not a Corvette enthusiast, that this is a special car and there's something different about this. You know, again, the aero and the stance on this car is just insane. But I want to go over some numbers with you guys and talk about just why this car is such an insane value. I'm sure everyone out there knows that Corvettes notoriously handle very well. They're very track capable cars, and the Z06 in specific is really designed for that track performance, but you may not have realized just how much of a beast it is in straight line performance as well. You know, in my research I actually realized that the Z06 is the only car I could find for under $100,000 that's currently produced at least, that can break 3 seconds for 0 to 60 times. You can see it's rated at 2.95 seconds. Now that's with the 8-speed automatic transmission and the Z07 performance package, but it's just under 3 seconds, where a lot of its competitors with much higher price tags aren't able to do that. And like I said, I wasn't able to find any car short of the Dodge Demon that was able to get below 3 seconds in their 0 to 60 time for under $100,000. Now obviously the Dodge Demon not being available yet, that leaves the Corvette Z06 as really the only contender in this category. But I've compared it to some other cars that are very track focused and high performance cars that you may consider as competitors or alternatives to the Z06, and you can see especially in straight line performance or 0 to 60 beats them pretty well as just destroys them in pricing. Now obviously the Z06 starts at just below $80,000, but again, we wanted to price it according to how GM states they are able to achieve the 2.95 seconds with the 8-speed automatic transmission and the Z07 performance package. Now moving on to insurance premiums, which is something I like to discuss on all my reviews. It's a very popular question in the comments section. For those of you wondering, in order for me to insure this car, which obviously could be drastically different from you, I'm 25 with no tickets or accidents. My quote from my insurance company was about $960 per 6 months, or just under $2,000 a year to insure this car, which obviously is a lot. It's about $300 more per 6 months than my current Stingray, but for the performance you're getting here and the price of this car, that's actually not too bad. But it's definitely a cost that you're going to want to be aware of. Next thing I want to discuss with you guys is the cost of tires. I'm going to show you a funny clip afterwards that will show you why this is a relevant cost to discuss. But when you're looking at the tires here, it's got the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires on here, which are basically just pushing the edge of street legal, basically race tires. You can see here very, very minimal tread on the tire, but these things grip like you've never imagined before. You know, they're summer only tires, but they are very expensive and they are extremely wide. You can see just over $1,600 for a full set. Now when I say how wide these are, just to give you an idea what I mean, the front tires on the Z06 are wider than the rear tires on a Charger Hellcat that I recently reviewed, and that's a beast in itself. So you know, like I said, this thing has extremely wide tires on there to cling to the road, and you can tell when you drive. I mean, it feels like you're riding on rails literally, and I know that's very cliche, but this car does it. Now I want to show you kind of a funny clip, something that happened to me while I was reviewing this car. Check this out and we'll talk afterwards. Look at this guy. You see this guy hanging out the window trying to tell me to... So as you can see there, this car definitely draws a lot of attention, and that's exactly why I like to cover the price of tires in my reviews, because believe it or not, even in my Stingray, I get people all the time asking me to do burnouts, and after being behind the wheel for about a minute in this Z06, I already had somebody yelling out the window to do a burnout. And at $900 for a new set of rear tires, I don't think that I'd be doing burnouts at every red light in town for people standing on the side of the road. But, you know, nonetheless, it is still really cool to see the reaction of other car enthusiasts when you're driving this car. The overall presence with it being so low and wide and such an aggressive looking car, you can tell that it just turns a lot of heads and people get excited. You know, it draws a lot of emotion out of people, and that's a really good feeling as a car enthusiast to be behind the wheel of something like this, because it just feels special. You know, it feels so much different than even my Stingray Corvette. You can tell you're in something that's just made for performance. And as far as the overall driving feel, you know, the transmission, it being the 7-speed manual where I'm more accustomed to my 8-speed automatic, took me a moment to get used to it, but once I was able to get in sync, this is a very, very fun transmission, and it almost pulls you in to just drive faster and faster. I found myself really struggling not to speed on some of these back roads, even when I'm not intending to, because the transmission is just so kind of compelling to go faster. You also just can feel the stick of those Michelin Pilot Sport Cup tires. They're just absolutely glued to the road, and the Z07 suspension handles all the turns really, really well. It's very firm, but at the same time it's not uncomfortable. It's almost hard to describe, but it's very confidence inspiring because you just feel like you're absolutely locked in. I wasn't able to push the car anywhere near the limits, obviously being on public roads. In fact, this is going to be a car somebody purchases. I don't want to beat it up, put any unnecessary wear and tear on it, but in the little bit that I was able to push the car, I was absolutely amazed by how planted the car feels. It's so much wider and more secure feeling than even my car, and that being a Corvette, you know, you'd think that they'd be very similar, but this car definitely has a otherworldly type of handling feel to it. Same with the brakes, you know, those large carbon ceramic brakes. This thing bites extremely hard. I mean, it can rip you back in the seat when you lay into the throttle, and then rip you forward in the seat when you lay into those brakes. Those things are absolutely incredible. Definitely, you can tell how this car could be an absolute track weapon. I would love one day to be able to actually test it on a track where you can push it to the limits, but everything in it just feels very precise, very performance oriented, and you can tell that it has one goal and one goal only, and that is to rip around a track as fast as humanly possible. But the only place that I did feel a little bit out of my comfort zone was riding around in traffic. With this car being so wide, you know, you kind of feel nervous that you may scrub on a curb. Obviously, being in traffic with a manual isn't exactly fun, but it just feels sort of like you're riding a lion on a leash. You know, it's just so much power, and it's got such an aggressive presence to it that being in traffic, you get a lot of people looking at you. And you know, like I said, that was the only place that I didn't really feel super in sync with the car and enjoy the driving feel, with it being very stiff and not having the best turning radius. But this car isn't really meant to be you know, driven really slowly around town in traffic. This car is meant to be out on the track. So I'm going to show you a few clips of opening this car up a little bit and how it's meant to be driven. Like I said, guys, this thing is a complete monster. The performance is just incredible. The power is like nothing I've ever felt before, so I'm really glad that I had a chance to experience this car. Very incredible car. I'd love to have one day. Normally at this point, this is where I'd go over the interior very thoroughly with you guys. But I wanted to point out I actually have a lot of videos already on my channel showing the Corvette interior, as well as gauge cluster, infotainment system, etc. So definitely check those videos out if you're looking for more information. I mainly wanted to focus on a few cool pieces of technology that are built into the car, being that this is a 3LZ trim level. This actually has 4 different cameras available in the car that I wish I really had in my car. This has the PDR, Performance Data Recorder, which obviously shows the footage like I've been playing throughout the video with the overlays added on top. Really cool feature there, and I think that would be something I definitely want on my future Corvette. It's also got the front curb view cameras, which are 2 different cameras that actually show you a view. Make sure you don't scrape or make sure you don't hit a curb pulling in. Uses 2 different side cameras to kind of give you a perspective from each side, and then stitch together to give you a top-down view. So really cool option there. I really wish that I had that, because I've actually unfortunately scraped once in my car. I think I could have prevented that if I would have had that feature, and as well as the backup camera, which obviously you have in pretty much any trim level of a Corvette, at least in the C7 generation. But really cool technology there. I thought that was really neat, and me being obviously a camera guy, I thought having the 4 total cameras on a car is just pretty incredible. It's not often that you can say that. But anyway, guys, I had a lot of fun reviewing this car. That's pretty much all I have. I do plan on making some additional videos on the Z06 with some of the footage that I took. So definitely leave me a comment below. Let me know if you like this video or anything else that you want to know about the Z06. But for today, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.